Howdy, it's Leslie Hassler here, your small business growth coach with Your Biz Rules. I'm here today to talk about this funny little thing called scope creep. And it is a bit creepy, isn't it? I love that word creep when it comes to it because it really personifies to me what happens in a small business when suddenly you're doing more than you agreed to be doing. Now let's talk about scope creep in a couple of ways. First of all, what is it? What does it look like? Well, it can show up in your business in a lot of different ways. First of all, if you're by project, if you do by fee, if you quote a project or you quote a set fixed amount of work for a client, then anytime something gets added on to that, it gets piled onto it, that's scope creep, right? If you are a time-based business, so you bill or you have appointments or something like that to where you spend time, like we have an hour-long appointment. So think of psychiatrists, think of design in some ways is very, but while it's bid by project, it's determined by time. Okay, so time can be an element where you're scope creeping. You could be agreeing to have a 30-minute conversation with the clients, and that's part of what they get as part of working with you. But anytime you go to 45 minutes, you're scope creeping. Okay, you're giving it away per se. And I'm going to say that because check back next week. I'm going to talk about another tip about how it's okay to give that away and how you plan for it. But we're saying right now you haven't planned for anything. You just finding yourself really being taken advantage of. That's how you feel as a business owner, is that you're being taken advantage of. We'll talk about the client in a minute. So that's kind of what scope creep looks like. What we want to do is we want to shift it. We want to manage it. We want to beat it back however you want to take about it. And I want to share, this is one of the phrases we use in our house. So it came from Jeff Foxworthy, okay? So if a comedian, you know, the redneck comedian, my husband loves him, so we tend to watch a little bit of it. But he has this word called sensuous, all right? And he says it's Texas for, since you was up, why don't you get me this? And this happens in my house all the time. If my husband gets up to go get a drink of water and we're watching a movie, I'll be like, sensuous. And he's like, what do you want? It's like, sensuous up. Could you bring me some water too? Ching. All right, that's a sensuous factor. That is a bit what scope creep is like, is being sensuous. So let me give you an example. Since you was already working on this, do you mind adding this? Hey, John, I know you're working on my books right now. Do you mind also adding in my credit card? Okay, if you hadn't actually planned for that, that's an instance of scope creep. Amy, I know that you're going to be filing for me today, and since you're already here, do you mind also doing this? Okay, that's another version of scope creep, okay? It can also, like I said, it could be in the time factor and you're not managing your time very well. Now, scope creep, I have to say, I find business owners being very angry about it. Very angry, very mad about it, and getting that kind of, like I mentioned, that feeling like you've been taken advantage of. We don't want that in your business. That's negative energy that doesn't make anybody happy, all right? And that's one of those things that actually lead to burnout in your business. And so we want to nip this in the bud. But what you have to understand is that scope creep is normal. It's perfectly normal. It is not anyone. No one is trying to take advantage of you, all right? It's how you manage it that really makes an impact on your business. Let me give you an example. So I happened to have a friend and we were chatting and she just got an email from a bookkeeper. Okay, the bookkeeper doubled her bill. Like on the invoice, the bill was twice as much as my friend was expecting. Now, did the bookkeeper lie? Did the bookkeeper not do a good job? What did the bookkeeper not do? The bookkeeper did not manage scope, if that makes sense. The bookkeeper did not manage the client's expectation around scope. Chances are, and my friend said this anyways, I knew it was a lot. I just didn't know it was that much. And so when you don't manage scope creep, what happens is somebody is going to feel bad in the situation. Either your client's going to feel taken advantage of, or you're going to feel like you're taken advantage of. We don't want that. So the number one tip, and I'm going to be sharing with you a few tips about scope creep and how to actually handle it in your business. But the number one tip that I can get you is to manage it from the beginning. So creeping, if you think about it, it feels really slow, right? It feels like, all right, it's slow. That's to tell you how subtle scope creep really is. It's little bitty things that get added on in a lot of ways. If it was something really big, you would have no problem saying, you know what, that's not a part of this. And while we could do it, it would increase, you know, what you'd be spending with us. If you're okay to looking at that, I'm more than happy to doing it. This is talking about this little bitty stuff, okay? Because what happens is chances are the first time around, you're like, oh, okay, that doesn't seem like a big deal, no problem. Second time around, you're like, again, I just did it. Third time around, you're getting a little resentful, all right? But the thing is you didn't manage it the first time. So we have to manage it from step one. Now, step one, you've got choices, okay? You could say, you know what, Barbara, I'm more than happy to do this, but I want to make sure that this is it. Like, because any more changes, any more adding on will impact our time and our budget. And you've already told me that those are two really important things. So will it be okay if you have something in the future that we maybe take a look at what the impact would be for time or for money? Easy peasy. You could say, wow, Barbara, that does sound like it would be really easy to include. But it's not that simple. I know it seems like that, but it's really not that simple. I would feel more comfortable if we tabled this. If I put it over here in the parking lot, if you will, I've got a binder, I've got notes that I'm taking anyways. And as we get to the completion of the project, or after we've completed, we take a look at adding it in at that time. Does that sound fair? Or you could say, well, Barbara, tell me, how important is this to you? On a scale of 1 to 10. Well, it's really a 9. Okay, great, Barbara. I hear you, it's a 9. But here's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to take a look at it and just sit with this for a day or two. I want to make sure that I'm thinking my entire way through it, and it's not something that's going to complicate the project versus simplifying it. Can I come back to you at that point in time? Great. That gives you a little bit of time to put a little more backing around why you can or cannot do this, why you will or will not charge for this, okay? But you have to do it then. So a lot of times what will happen is I will find that sometimes, like, my appointments with clients will run a little long. Now, I've planned for them not to always end on time. But when I see a trend of length and length and length, I say something. Hey, you know what, Joan? We're meant to have 1-hour meetings. And I've noticed in the last couple times that we've extended to 1.5. I hope you understand if I maybe set a timer, or at 55 minutes, I let us both know that we've got about 5 minutes to wrap up. Would that be okay? No, I really find that I need that extra time. You know, I see how it's providing value to you as well. It's not what we initially agreed to. Do you want to go back and revisit our contract? Be more than happy to do that. Do you understand, like, do you see in each time, and here's the key thing I'm hoping I'm sharing with you, in each time I'm listening, I'm identifying that I've heard, and I'm offering a compromise, something that I would be happy with and would meet their needs at the same time. But it's always pleasant. It's always positive. When you don't manage scope creep is when you get into that negativity. And I've done this even before. It's so interesting some days to be the client and the business coach at the same time, and to listen to people when I ask for something additional, because it's human, and I'll ask, and it's always an open question to me, and it's interesting to hear people's responses. And sometimes what I'll get is, well, no, I can't believe you've asked for that. I would have to charge you more. Well, I gotta tell you, about that time, I don't really want to be doing business with them. okay, because it was so attacking. So we want to keep it in a positive, lighthearted, kind of uplifting experience so that it's a win for you and it's a win for your client. All right. Now, if you want more kind of nice ways to know how to phrase those things, I would advise you to read a book called The Power of the Positive No. It talks exactly about how to enter compromise situations like this and find the right words. All right. And it's usually saying no to what they're wanting, reaffirming your value, and offering something that could be a win-win situation for somebody. So that's today's tips. Tomorrow, next time, not tomorrow, next time, I'm going to go into a couple more ways that you actually can plan for managing scope creep versus having to deal with it on the spot with the client, because that's kind of stressful sometimes. So that's it for today. My name is Leslie Hassler. I am a small business growth coach with Your Biz Rules out of Dallas, Texas, but serving everybody virtually as well. If you liked today's videos, be sure to subscribe, like, and share it below, and check back with us next week. I'll be back with more tips just for you so you can grow your business and have fun doing it too. Thanks so much.